Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am doing something that I haven't done in a while for you, that is sharing the top 10 orchids in my collection. Actually, it's the top 10 orchids that give me the wow factor for different reasons. Some of them can be colors, others maybe it's a color combined with a fragrance, or the way that the orchid displays its flowers, or how different and wild this orchid is. The reason varies from orchid to orchid. Nonetheless, I think would be an amazing idea to take you along and to update you what are the top 10 orchids that I actually have in my collection. It's not some orchids that I had one day and that I love but I lost, or that I've seen somewhere. No, these orchids, I have them here with me, and they might be in bloom or may not, but I have B-rolls as well. So if that's the type of content you like to see, here is there, and let's start. And these here, they are not orchids, although they are like in an orchid jar because they didn't have any vase. But it's just some flowers that people gave me for my birthday, and I think they are lovely. So I will keep them here while we talk about orchids, okay? These are also flowers, and they are beautiful nonetheless. Without further ado, let's dive into the world of orchids. So number one here, because was the first one that I remember, actually, there is not a logical order, or there is not a reason why they are in this order. It's just like I was remembering and I was adding them to the list. So the first one that came to my mind was the Dendrobium griffithianum. It was in bloom this year. It blooms only once a year. And I definitely showed you this orchid when it was in full glory because it reminds me of sunshine. It's like super yellow, like these beautiful sunflowers here. And when it's in bloom, it will push a cascading of Dendrobium flowers that is so gorgeous, so beautiful. It is compact, but even being so compact definitely gives me this wow factor. This plant will be in bloom for maybe 1 week only or 2 weeks maximum. It's not the type of orchid that will be in bloom all the time. It's not the type of orchid that we will see in bloom multiple times a year. However, the color is super striking. It is beautiful. The display of the flowers is gorgeous. It's also a fragrant orchid that has some sort of floral sweet fragrance to it. I simply adore my Dendrobium griffithianum. I've said here multiple times that I would love to have other Dendrobiums that are similar to this one. However, this is the only one in my collection at the moment, but it's definitely one of the top 10 orchids that I have, and every time that I see it in bloom, it melts my heart. Do you want one? What do you think about the Dendrobium griffithianum? I'd love to hear. The second one is not in bloom at the moment either. I'm not going to bring it here because I have some pests in the living room that I don't have in my bedroom, so don't want to mix the plants. But the second one is the famous, super famous and popular Phalaenopsis schilleriana. Why? This is one of the top 10 orchids that I have in my collection for multiple reasons. Not only it is a beautiful plant when it's not in bloom, I love how elongated and pointy the leaves are. Not only that, but the leaves are all mottled. The leaves have a very nice pattern to it. And when it pushes out a flower spike, I love the way that the flower spike will grow and the buds will all open opposite to each other, and you're gonna have this beautiful plus elegant cascade of Phalaenopsis blooms. Another thing that I love about my schilleriana is how delicate, and I also love the shape of the flowers, look like a bowl, and it is fragrant. It has a very soft floral fragrance, but for me it's the combo. It's one of these orchids that only blooms once a year as well. But when it pushes the flower spike, it's so delicate but so beautiful at the same time that gives me this wow factor and this, oh my gosh, my schilleriana will rebloom. And how long is going to be the spike this time? It will bloom with multiple flowers. You have just maybe a few flowers. It's becoming a massive plant as it grows and matures, but it's definitely one of my favorite orchids out there. For this reason, I select the schilleriana as the Phalaenopsis in this list because I have to say it is my favorite at the moment. It might change in the future, it always changes. Let's go to the next one. The next one I have in blooming here, so let me grab it. Take it. I'm gonna compete here, but that's fine. So this one is my ROC, toshie walk. And the reason why I chose this Cattleya specifically is because of the color combo. And also the shape of the flowers. I do love Cattleyas they are not super frilly and large as this one, but this one has something special to it. I don't know why, but it's definitely my favorite Cattleya at the moment. It has one of these typical Cattleya fragrance. It's not one of the fragrance that I love. It's too strong for my taste. But why I love this Cattleya, if it's not for the fragrance, definitely not, it's because of the flowers. It's one of those that only blooms once a year. Yet again, there is a pattern here, I'm sorry. And not only that, but I like how this hybrid is capable of pushing out these super yellow petals and sepals that will contrast amazingly well with this dark purple. I love how the color on these flowers contrast. And not only that, it's capable of pushing out. This time we will have 3 flowers. It was supposed to have 4, but one of the flowers aborted before it opened. The only difficult thing with this plant specifically is that it has scales since I bought it. And these scales, I've never managed to get rid of these scales, but that's a subject for another video. Nonetheless, I love these flowers and I am super happy with this plant. It's becoming a monster, so bear in mind this is a massive Cattleya. You need to have the space for it because it's really tall. But it is my favorite Cattleya because of how gorgeous these flowers are. I don't know how to explain. Maybe it's also because this one came from Brazil, so it has a very special and soft spot in my heart. But let's go to the next plant. The next box in bloom will have lots of flowers that were fading, and that's my fault. I didn't have time to film them. Anyway, this is the number 4. This is an oncidium intergeneric that has no ID. I bought it locally. These flowers, they don't represent this plant very well. Why I love this plant so much is the fact that it will push super dark red flowers. The flowers can get pretty large. And I love red. Red is definitely my favorite color. And I think when this plant is very healthy, not have been recently repotted like this one, and has suffered a little bit, it has enough energy to push out a beautiful flower spike. This plant is capable of putting a beautiful flower show. So for various different reasons, it's not fragrant, I think. No, it doesn't have any fragrance, but when it's in bloom, it will not only push multiple flowers, the flowers will be very strikingly red. I love the shape of them as well. It's like a star-shaped type of plant, but I love how red the petals and sepals are and how they contrast with the soft tone of the lip. Next one is not in bloom, but it might be in bloom pretty soon. I don't know if it blooms once a year or a little bit more than once a year, but this one is a Catasetum, not one of the most popular orchids out there, but I definitely love this orchid, and I've told you this many times, so if you follow me here, you knew that this plant would probably make to this point. So here in the 5th position, not for any particular reason, is my Catasetum pileatum jungle green gold. So this plant is native from Brazil, I would say like for the Amazonian region, north of Brazil, south of Colombia, that region. This is a plant that will grow in environments that are pretty humid and also warm. For this reason, they don't require exactly a cool down temperature to be able to bloom and rebloom. They will keep pushing out new growths as soon as the flower is gone. What I adore about this plant and why it makes to this position is definitely the flowers. The flowers are massive flowers. They have this kind of, I would say, it's a like, not the super brightest color. It's a green and yellow and white color. What I love about this plant is definitely the shape, the Catasetum shape of the flower, how large and how exotic it looks compared to other orchids. At the moment, it's growing a completely new growth, is full of green leaves, so I might have Catasetum flowers pretty soon. It already bloomed twice this year for me. The flowers are very short-lived yet again. It's one of those that will last only for a week, So you need to actually catch this plant in full glory before it fades if you want to enjoy the blooming season. It is definitely a gorgeous flower. I love this Catasetum. And so let's go to the next one. Sixth position is also in blue. Let me catch it. So I don't think this is going to be a surprise if you follow me for a long time, but if you're new here, it is a surprise. So this one is my Prosthechea vitellina. So I had this plant since I started this channel, and my first video in this channel was holding. It's a very, very weird video. Anyway, I'm not going to go into there, but very cringy, and the sound wasn't good whatsoever. I introduced myself holding this plant here. It was another plant, not exactly this one. The other one died. But this plant, when it's fully mature and very healthy, is capable of pushing out a very long flower spike, full of super orange small flowers. This one is a species, it's not a hybrid, but it's one of these flowers that hold a soft spot in my heart. It's very dear to me for a couple of different reasons. I think it was the first orange orchid that I had. On top of that, it is a species that will push out these flowers, and for me the flowers remind me of a little bird. And I love not only the tone of orange, it's very bright and special, but I love the leaves as well. They have a great tint to it. So it's the whole combo of the flower. I don't know how to explain, but this little tiny orange beauty here, it's one of my favorite orchids. That's why when I lost the other one, I went straight away and bought a new one. So this is one of these orchids that I want to have in my collection forever. I don't think it's a difficult orchid to look after. It is a cutie, and I super recommend people to have it. So I will give you some B-rolls from this one, but I'll try to find some B-rolls from the old one, so you'll see more blooms. This time is the first time that this plant is blooming, so I don't expect many flowers, but I'm happy that it's blooming, and that's very healthy. Let's go to the next one. So this one is my Tolumnia jairak form, Pink Lady. Last time this plant blooms, I don't know, the flowers were a bit weird. They had like a washed tone of pink. This time it bloomed much better than last time, and I'm so happy to have these tiny flowers at the moment. From all the Tolumnias that I have, this one is my favorite, so that's why I decided to cut this one. I used to have a beautiful carrot Tolumnia a long time ago. I loved that one, but I lost. So among the ones that I have, this one, not only because it has this cute tone of pink, it's one of these typical Tolumnias that will push out a cluster of flowers. But I think Tolumnias, they are so gorgeous because they are tiny, they are compact, but when they push out their flower spikes, flowers are large if you compare it to the size of the plant. They definitely bright up my day when I look at them. So I couldn't leave a Tolumnia out of it. And from all the Tolumnias that I own, and that bloomed for me, this is definitely the one that I love the most at the moment. It might change, it's just a simple pink Tolumnia, but when I look at this cluster of flowers, I am so super happy. There is no perfume, it's just like a mostly dancing lady type of flower, but it has different colors. It's super cute, and I love this plant. So without further ado, let's go to the next one. Oh, it's also in bloom. We almost towards the end of this video, so if you enjoyed this type of content so far, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know which of these plants is your favorite as well. I'd like to hear from you. And let's go to the number 8. Made it back to this video yet again, like the Prosthechea vitellina. I love Miltoniopsis. I think I told you that before, but at the moment I only own this one, that the Miltoniopsis Har Alexander. It is a gorgeous plant, and I love Miltoniopsis for many different reasons, and since this is the only one that I have in my collection, I'm gonna add this one to the list. It's the fact that it has a rose perfume. It's not something that makes me sick. It's the kind of perfume that I like, that I enjoy very much, which is very rare because I find some flowers perfumes very strong. Even like these flowers that are here on this bouquet, for me, there are some of them that are the fragrances too much. So recording the video after that, I'm not going to be sitting here. But this is not the case with Miltoniopsis. I think they smell beautifully, and On top of that, they have a wide different of colors and varieties out there. This one specifically is just a white flowered Miltoniopsis. It's not something that we haven't seen out there before, but I love the shape of the flower. It's a little bit different from other intergenerics, has a very large lip, and for me it's an elegant flower overall that wins me over for its fragrance every time. And on top of that, because it's a very challenging plant for me to keep alive, so I love it because when I see it in bloom, I know that I did a good job and that I can see it in bloom yet again. So it will always wow me because I was capable of blooming this orchid, which is amazing since I grew these plants all inside my flat, don't have any special conditions. They have to survive with what I offer them. I even have tap water and I water them with tap water. So as you can see, if they are surviving, if they're blooming and reblooming, I am glad. That means that I'm doing something right out there. And with Miltoniopsis, that for me is always a super plus. So that's why the Miltoniopsis her Alexandra is here today. It bloomed again for me. This time I made it bloom. The plant made itself to bloom, but was under my care. So it pushed out a new growth here in my collection. Now it has another one. It's not super happy, I have to say. It's summer here. It suffered a little bit with dehydration, but it was capable of pushing through flowers, so I'm super happy and I can show you. Number 9 is a Paphiopedilum, and this Paphiopedilum is definitely my favorite Paphiopedilum. I was thinking a lot about it, but every time that I see this plant in bloom, it warms my heart. It's one of these Paphiopedilum that are for me so sweet in terms of color, in terms of flower as well. It's a little bit simpler, I would say, than compared to other Paphiopedilums. This is a species called Paphiopedilum delenatii or delenatii. Apparently, it can be fragrant as well. Mine is not fragrant, so I don't love it because it is fragrant. I love it because of the flowers. The flowers are a bit hairy. I love the tone of pink. The pink is very sweet. And funnily enough, I chose many pink flowers. I don't know why. And I love how it contrasts with the pout as well. There is something about the delenatii that makes it very special for me. I love the leaves. I love the mottling of the leaves. And I love the combination. I love how one single flower can be so beautiful and so imponent compared to the rest of the plant. And the only thing with this plant specifically, and that's an disadvantage I would say, is that it's not the easiest Paphiopedilum to grow. It's a very slow grower Paphiopedilum. You might see a flower maybe each year and a half, sometimes even each 2 years. So you need to be patient with this Paphiopedilum specifically. You need to have time to grow it properly and have other orchids for you to enjoy while you're growing your delenatii, because it might take a long time for you to see blooms. But if you manage to bloom it, definitely worth it. And I hope yours is fragrant and it smells beautifully, who knows? Mine doesn't. But nonetheless, I really enjoy this plant. That's why I also bought the Vinicolor. That's another variety of the delenatii, but I haven't seen it in bloom. It's even slower than the species, the normal variety. So I don't even know if I will be able to see it blooming for me sometime soon. But I really love this Paphiopedilum, and it's definitely one of these orchids that I want to have forever. So that's why this is my number 9. And let's go to the least but not last orchid in this list. That's my number 10. It's not a popular orchid. I'm really sorry, guys. I like different things, and I like how they can be diverse and different from one another. So here I have another white orchid. And this is my Aerangis articulata. I showed you this orchid many times, and unfortunately it's not healthy at the moment. I need to spray it. Something is going on with this plant, so it will not bloom for me this year. However, it's so elegant, and when I look at it, when it pushed the flower spike and when it opened all of that white flowers, gives me a dreamy vibe. I don't know, it's just a taste. It's something that when I look to how beautiful, you have the flower spike and you're probably seeing the B-rolls right now, but you're gonna see that all of them will open. They have a very long leaf and all the star-shaped white flowers and how they open and how they accommodate themselves. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. It's different from most of my other orchids. I know that Aerangis will have similar flowers, but this is the only one that I have in my collection. So for this reason, it's gonna be always special for me. It's also a bit larger if you compare to other Aerangis, so I believe the flowers are larger as well. The disadvantage of this one for me is that it is a nighttime fragrant type of flower, and the fragrance is very strong. It's one of these nighttime fragrance that you need to be prepared for. If it is in a bedroom and you have sun sensitivity, you would have to put in another space. I couldn't sleep near this Aerangis. For me, it's too strong, but because it's far from me when I'm in bed, I don't mind the fragrance because it will be here and it will do what it has to do. However, it only blooms once a year again. It's a species and the flowers will last only for 1 week. So it's very short-lived type of bloom. It's beautiful, gorgeous, but it's not something that you'll see in bloom all the time. So again, it's amazing if you have other orchids so you can enjoy while you wait for this one to bloom and to rebloom. And this concludes my top 10 orchids that I have in my collections. The one that I enjoy the most, or that gives me, not that I enjoy, I love all of them, but the ones that give me this wow factor and makes me feel maybe dreamy or sunny, or give me this, I don't know, a different, or give the variety. Also add some variety to my collection as well. I think that's also something that moves me with orchids. However, I do love all of the other ones, and I have others that are also super special for me. Let me know if you own any of these orchids. Which orchids are your favorites, the ones that you have in your collection? Which ones are your favorites from the ones that I showed you? If that's the type of content you enjoy seeing here, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and I want to see you next time. Bye bye.